I think
I will, because I forgot to send the link to everybody else. We can always come off of it.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving week. We are so excited for one more lunch on Airy Circle. And this one is going to involve as many people as we can, everybody in the myofunctional therapy field who wants to be a part of this and help us develop this myofunctional therapy functional assessment form. You are welcome to give us some comments and edits. We really want this to be a team effort, and we need everybody's expertise to make sure that we all together come up with a really, really good assessment that most of us can use. So welcome to our Tuesday night live. How's everybody doing? Good. All right. Anybody, if you'd like to turn on your cameras, you are welcome to. So you can see each other. We were just chatting a little bit before we went live, and then I forgot to go live. So let's catch up. Hey, Becca, about what we were talking about a little bit ago. Does anybody want to recap what we just said? Anything important?
We mentioned something about having some help with schools and what to do and speaking in schools.
Awesome. So yes, we're just talking about speaking opportunities and speaking engagements. I think it was actually Chris Zombeck who got me to the opportunity to speak at the Georgia Dental Hygiene Association. Somebody invited her and she said, Renata, you're right there, go ahead. And look what it's turned into. So the same thing with you guys. If somebody calls you and it's far from you, just give somebody else's name, you know, lend a helping hand. We are all here to support each other. And the more myofunctional therapy is seen, hey, she looks so cute. The more myofunctional therapy is seen by hygienists, you know, the more we're going to be able to grow this wonderful field in the dental world. So I know that today we're going to share our myofunctional therapy assessment, but since we're talking a little bit about public speaking, Airway Circle has put together a PowerPoint that anybody can use for schools or parents, so teachers or parents. Actually, this specific presentation I did twice for the Rotary Club in Savannah, 2 Rotary Clubs. So we have a form for everybody to sign, so the PowerPoint cannot be changed. The only thing that can be changed is your About Me section, because we want to make sure, since there's Airway Circle everywhere, that we're representing it very well. But our goal here is to just spread the knowledge, spread the word, spread the information. We're all planting seeds every single day. And we all know, I say this all the time, we all know that mothers are going to change the world. So if we start giving this information to moms, I really think that they're going to be the ones going after the professionals, start asking questions. You know, how many times we had a mom come, mothers and OMTs, definitely, mothers and teachers also, you know, they're the first ones to see these signs in these kids with sleep disorder breathing. So the PowerPoint goal here for the schools, this is actually part of the Airway Circle Heart Project that we started a long time ago. So we need volunteers, myofunctional therapy volunteers. If you can go to your local schools, if you can call your Rotary Club, if you can call mothers meetings, how they have the moms meetings, the sling meetings, the breastfeeding meetings, any place really that you can find to get out there. And this is just a great opportunity, again, for you to get out there and start speaking. If you are shy or if you don't feel comfortable talking in front of people, start with a small mom group and start increasing on that. Chiropractor's office, there's a local chiropractor here in Savannah that does awesome meetings with new moms. So there's many places that you can go out there. So we have this PowerPoint available for you guys to download. I'm going to give everybody the link. And there's also a form that you have to sign in order to download this PowerPoint and be able to use it, just because we want to make sure that the information that's out there, we back it up. And again, I want to invite everybody to look at this PowerPoint presentation and give us advice. Renata, I think that we should add this slide, please. You know, this, like I said, is a group and a team effort. So we are all here to help each other and to help the field. So we're very thankful for all of you who have already contacted us wanting to be volunteers and to take this on. So thank you for that. I am going to, anything that I missed over here? Sarah said that she's been asked to speak at Harvard orthodontic class. Oh my Lord. That is so exciting, Sarah. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? And I'm actually going to give you guys a minute about where is everybody's next speaking engagements, just because I'm going to walk over to my office. So I'm going to let you guys talk for a little bit. I'm going to mute myself. Start with Sarah, and then we'll go to Angela. Tell us about speaking engagements.
Don't forget to take yourself off of mute, Sarah.
I did.
Yeah.
So I've been long contact with an airway orthodontist in Burlington, Vermont, Dr. Dara Chira. And so she actually travels to Harvard and lectures at the Harvard orthodontics class once a month. And she specifically asked if I wanted to come in and do a specific myo presentation. So of course my head is like all over the map, but I think really what I'm thinking, and I would love everybody's feedback, is I'm going to keep it short and sweet in terms of helping orthodontists understand that it's not about the immediate goal, it's about the end goal. And so I'm trying to like rack my head around some sort of picture or some sort of presentation I saw once where it was like the tree, and it was like the layers of the tree and how the tree grows. I can't remember what, but anyways, just anything that's like, you know, that you plant the tree.
Is that the one showing like the root cause
this way? Huh?
Is that the one that was showing like the root cause?
Yeah, but or just like the long-term benefits of, you know, addressing dysfunctions is going to produce function, which is aesthetics, but it's whole body function. So I don't know. My head's still like crazy. I'm still far away from probably actually doing it, but I'm definitely starting the process.
How much time do you know? How much time that they might allot?
Oh, I could probably, I mean, I could probably easily get at least a half an hour. I mean, I don't think,
girl, I think we could probably go for 2 hours.
oh, we could go for 2 hours.
Depending on how much she gives you. Yeah.
Well, you know, the reality too is what I would probably do is just go in once and just do like a little fishing expedition where I just kind of go in and just do like a little bit of an overview, and then I could circle back when it's more appropriate. But
oh my goodness, Janice, I want to be drinking a glass of wine right now.
Oh my God.
Sarah, I would just make a suggestion to do kind of what you're saying of like do a little bit, kind of cover abroad and then go in deeper. But I spoke at the dental school here in Colorado, and
awesome.
I felt like the students were a little bit like cross-eyed. Their brains are fried, right? They're learning all the basics right now. So I found that when I got too deep into content, I was losing them all because they're just not there yet. And so I kind of shifted gears and approached it more of like, here's the stuff you're going to want to pursue when you're out of here. When you're out of here and you're actually in practice and you're building your team, this is your airway team. You need to talk to these people, and just sort of explain a little bit of the why, but not like too many details because they're not going to remember it. So the key thing is to build that relationship with them so they know how to find you after, and then you can, you know, help them when they're in the real world. That's just my suggestion.
I think that's perfect, Kimmy. And I think that the experience that you just talked about, yeah, I mean, we are all brain fried whenever we're in school, right? So starting small, starting basic, dental to dental, you know, terms and such that they know, and that not going to really blow them out of the water, right? And just start small. And we just, you know, I say we because we are all in this together, right? It's just, all we want to do is inform, educate, and collaborate, right? And we want to help as many as we can. So starting, it doesn't matter how smart and brilliant some of these minds are, you have to start from somewhere, and starting from the ground up, it'll give them a nice, good foundation, and then they reach out to you for more later. Or we send them to Airway Circle, and then we, have them grow here.
All righty, let's share this in our group. Do we have any state leaders in the room? If you can share our live in your state. I'm sharing on Indiana just because it's showing up for me right now. And does anybody here not like when I tag everyone on Facebook? I've been yelled at twice, y'all. But I feel like I don't abuse it. It's just once a week. So there it goes. I just tagged everyone one time. All right. Here we go. Everybody ready? Welcome to Myo Circle. And Tamara and Angela. Is Tamara driving? I'm going to let you guys.
Yeah, she's home now.
Awesome. Okay, so you guys feel free to chime in, and Anne, Kimmy, and Medicine. You guys also, if anybody wants to chime in, you guys are welcome to. So what is Myo Circle? Let's start there. Whenever we came up with Launch Your Inner Myo, we wanted to do a very heavy business course into everybody that's going into myofunctional therapy. Many hygienists don't have experience owning a business, so we really wanted to be focused on that. And then whenever our businesses started growing and we started trying to hire people, I feel like the most that I heard was people have taken 1, 2, 3 courses, but they had no experience, right? Like most of us. Not only that, they never got to watch someone work. So we've been brainstorming this for a while, and we finally put it together. And it's pretty much a course that's going to be very critical thinking into treatment planning. We want to be able to be that next step after you take your first myofunctional therapy course into like, okay, what do I do? I don't know if I was the only one when I finished my myofunctional therapy course that I felt exactly like that. Okay, what do I do? I have all this information now, but I don't really know where to start. So this is step-by-step, what do you do? We go through all of our forms. So our consultation form, and what does it mean? All these things, all the templates that we have put together, what do these things mean? Thank you. So the consultation, the full evaluation, and the therapy sessions. And then we have several recorded therapy sessions or consultations with Tamara and I that you guys can watch. And also I tried, whenever I did these therapy sessions and the consultations, I asked my patients, make sure that they were okay recording and everything. And I have some of them, I have the form right next to it, and I'm narrating everything that I'm doing. So, now I'm going to ask them this, do you see what I'm seeing? And then I'm going to check this, things of that nature. So it's very self-explanatory. It's kind of like, holding your hand. This is exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. Angela and Tamara, what do you guys want to add?
Go ahead, Ange.
Oh, okay. I'm answering a bunch of questions over here. Yeah, I think that with the combination of what Airway Circle team has put together, God, I just wish that we had this when I was starting off. Tamara, you're just nodding your head. Seriously, yeah. It's just so important. And, we have taken thousands and thousands of dollars worth of courses, and are we better therapists for it? Absolutely. What we have done is we've created this platform here, and with Airway Circle, we are working hard together to take all of our knowledge with the entire Airway Circle board and really put it together in easier to understand.
So talk about what you
terms.
did on the consultation form, Ange.
Oh, okay. So on the consultation form, I see a lot of my clients in person, and in the consultation form, I have simple practice and I have paperwork. I can't get rid of my paperwork yet. And I go over a lot of what I have on my forms in there and what I feel like is very important to me in my therapy program for my patients.
So you go through line by line, what it means. This is what I'm looking for, the consultation pointers.
Yeah. Thanks. I know I'm really scatterbrained right now. I need a bullet point. Yeah, I do. I do. Go
Good.
ahead,
And I'm
Tamara.
not looking at the chat. So if somebody's looking at the chat, you guys let me know.
Yeah,
Tamara, what do
that's
you
where I
have
was.
to add for our welcome? I don't know who okay.
Yes. Basically what Angela and Renata said. So Angela does get to go through pointers, and she has photos of everything and explains very, very thoroughly, like what is she looking for, and how to assess and write it up. So I think between watching Renata, me, and then Angela actually explaining everything as well, we come from such different schools, but we all come together. And for me, it's more of learning from different people, because when I've taken a bunch of different courses, but trying to go like, oh, this person does it this way, this person does it that way, and like, how am I supposed to do this? And let's try this. And it's a lot of trial and error that I've come to where I am today. I'm like, okay, this works well, but to be able to like take that out for everybody is like huge, to take the, the guesswork and to have people to kind of bounce questions off of.
So you guys pretty much already know who we are. My name is Renata. I was a dental hygienist for about 10, 11 years. And I've been doing myofunctional therapy. I'm looking at that hand. I'm sorry, the two red hands, they look like both of my hands, but I know one of them is not. One is your hand, Ange. It looks like mine. I've been a myofunctional therapist now for about 6, 7 years. And what else? I'm from Brazil, so most of my training is in Brazil. I'm lucky enough to be able to still speak Portuguese. So I started by studying for 2 whole years in Brazil with universities over there, all online. And then I took the IOM course with the wonderful Mary Billings and Diana Davidson. And then I did Sarah Hornsby after that. And then I did Zagi's Breathe course, and probably 4 or 5 more myofunctional therapy Brazilian courses with different instructors. Some that were like specific to orthodontic surgery, some that were specific for exercise physiology, some specific for lateral thrust and forward thrust. But anyway, so I'm gonna bring a lot of those things into MyoCircle. So that's my experience. Now I have Myo Moves, and I have 3 therapists that work with me, and they are absolutely amazing. I love them so much. So Tamara, your turn.
Yeah, I think on that note, real fast, Renata, having Portuguese and learn stuff in Brazil, to me is like priceless, because there's so much information that comes from there. And I keep telling her I want to learn Portuguese so I can sit in on those. But yeah, we've learned a lot from Renata in general. So it's just that little nugget is huge. A lot of people know me too. I am Tamara. I'm San Diego, California. I'm the owner of Facial Physique. The classes I've taken, Myo Mentor, the Breath Institute, AOMT, what else? I'm in Myo Masterminds as we speak. Lots of little ones here and there, lots of, what do you call them? Like AAPMD conferences. My brain's fried too.
Webinars.
Classes you worked until now, right?
And yeah, I have an associate, Selena, most of you know her as well, and we're growing with everybody else. It's amazing.
And
I am Angela Richwine. I've been in the dental field for 28 years, and I just recently retired from dental hygiene so that I can focus all of my time and effort and energy with Airway Circle and with my myofunctional therapy business. I am the one hygienist and myofunctional therapist here in the Central Virginia area. And I am so happy to be able to share this. I should probably be retiring here soon, like for everything, but I'm not, because I have children who have myofunctional disorders, and I went through the roof and back to all different types of medical providers that didn't even know that my kid had a tongue tie. And it was a very challenging life, and that is my drive, that I don't want to have to allow these other parents to have to go through what I've gone through. So I took a course through the Virginia Dental Hygienist Association, and they introduced me, this is like 18 plus years ago, to myofunctional therapy. And actually, I think it was Pat Pine, and it was only like a 15 or 30 minute a brief interview or description of what myofunctional therapy was and what they do. And that was the beginning stages of just reading and reading and reading. And over the course of military moves and having babies and shifting around, that I took the time and I was able to learn about it. And now that I have my QOM, the Qualified Orofacial Myology, that's through Sandra Holtzman and Neo Health. I've taken the IOM course, Sarah Hornsby's course, the Mile Munchie, Certified Provider, Breathe Babies, TBI courses. I've kind of sat in front of my computer, thank you COVID, for quite some time now. And I feel like I have a pretty good base with my experience in seeing clients from the ages of 4 months all the way up to 67. And Tamara was texting me earlier, right before we opened the room, and she's like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I just got another phone call. I'm on a consultation right now. And they're just coming in. And I'm a one-man show. And I think probably in the next year, I'd like to think that I'm going to have Sarah Colvin move down to Central Virginia and be partners with me down here.
Yes.
She's laughing, girl. No. Anyway, thank you for having me here. And I'm so glad that everybody is here. And as a lot of you have seen us, Renata and Tamara and the other Airway Circle ladies here, we are here for you. And we love trying to get through questions with you. And please send any questions our way. And if we don't respond within 24 hours, we will. We promise. We just have a lot of messages coming in, and running our businesses and our homes and all of that. We really want to be able to help you because we want to be a part of your life just as much as you need us to help you.
All right, so let's go really quickly. I know I'm not sharing the screen for a second. I just need to do an edit really quickly. The fundamentals, a brief foundation review from your myofunctional therapy introductory course. So we did not want to teach myofunctional therapy, but in this course, we did want to add a little bit of review, things that we thought were very important for us to know after we took our first and second courses, things that we all, you kind of always have to go back to. So it's always good to get a reminder. Angela, what is it that you were talking about in this review? Did you guys do muscles? Was it you or was it Tamara?
We both do muscles.
Okay, go ahead.
Ange does muscles of mastication, and I do the tongue muscles. So just a basic review of that. And then you're also going to have some cranial nerves in there, Ange.
Can you hear me okay? Yes, the muscles of mastication. So we go over a lot of things with that. Of course, we have the 4 muscles, and we go into what they do and how they contribute to what myofunctional therapy will be doing, and the movements of the jaw and of the jaw and the muscles, everything that's all combined with it, and the chewing and the motions and different types of, I don't go into exercises, but a lot of the exercises that you have learned. What's that?
Not on there. We're going to go through
exercises.
No.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Sorry. I just had to do a quick edit. All right, so we do a basic review, like we said, muscles, cranial nerves. We talk about, I'm going to talk a little bit about exercise physiology. And I've said this before. We are all, you guys are going to want to kill me. We are all prescribing exercises wrong. I just took an exercise physiology class and you guys have no idea. Who over here, lift your hand up if you tell patients, do this exercise for 2 minutes. Do this exercise, yeah, that's me. Yeah, we're all wrong. There you go. So I'm going to be going through exactly how we should be prescribing these exercises, looking at muscle physiology, looking at muscle function, looking at muscle fibers. So it's going to be a little bit more in depth. I know. I hate to say that, but I was told that. Okay. Well, what else do we have? So there he goes. Muscle mastication, cranial nerves, muscle physiology. Oh, and we're going to have at the end, we're going to talk about some guest speakers for this course. And somebody's going to be talking about TMD. But we're going to leave that to the end. Also, I'm not sure if this is what I'm gonna share. Okay, so in the course, I'm going to go through the assessment form section by section. I'm gonna show you guys everything today. I'm gonna pick some sections to talk about today, but it's a lot. So during the course, I'm not gonna record this. So that's something that I want to bring into this course. I don't want it to be a fully recorded course. So there are several things on here that are going to be live, just because I feel like we learn so much better from each other whenever we're live or whenever everybody's adding, whenever everybody's chatting. So I'm going to go through the assessment, a functional assessment form, section by section, explaining exactly what it means, explaining what I'm looking for when I'm asking the patient to do that. So it's going to be very, very clear. And another thing that you're going to get whenever you take this course, ta-da, I don't know if you can see it. This is my patient bag. You're going to get a bag full of tools and an extra gift that I just got in the mail today. I just opened it. It's super cool. But this, you're going to get the extra gift and this. So also live, this is not going to be recorded. I am going to release all of my exercises. I have not done this with anybody. I have not given this to anybody. Even the girls that work with me are like, Renata, I need all your exercises and I don't give it out. But now, this is it. My circle is where I'm just gonna open. Yeah, Becca's like, it's true. I don't give up. I know, but this is, I'm opening the vault. Oh, Jennifer also, yes. She was like, so when am I going to get to see your exercises? I'm like, well, you got to work for me for a little bit. But no, now I'm going to open it up. And because I do believe that some of the things that I have learned are so valid, and I have seen so much change in my patients whenever I've changed some or done some of these specific exercises. Because some of the Brazilian classes that I've taken, they explain why you are, I'm going to be reviewing the form in just a little bit. Yes. I'm going to explain why am I doing this exercise. There's something else that we do all the time. The what is the exercise that you fill up your cheeks with air? Cheek puffs?
Yeah, cheek puffs.
Right? There are some patients that we should not be giving this to. And we do, because most of us go through, and it's okay because all of us need to learn somehow, right? So, for example, when I first started, I really didn't know exactly what I was doing. So I had to pick up some exercises by what I was looking at and try to figure out, okay, I'm going to give this exercise, you know, kind of talk myself into it. Why am I giving this? I'm always asking myself, why am I giving this to the patient? But recently I learned that whenever you have a low tone patient or a patient with really chubby cheeks, you should never give them cheek puffs. How many of us? How many of us do we give that to? You know what I mean? So if you think about it, those patients already have these muscles right here super loose. This exercise helps loosen them up even more. So what do you have to do instead? If you have somebody with chubby cheeks or low tone on the cheeks, what do you have to do instead? Anybody want to say it? What is it, Sarah?
Gotta unmute.
You guys can put on the chat too. Anybody?
Chewing.
Chewing is a great one. What else? Let me see on Facebook if anybody's answering.
Cheek raises? Is that what you mean?
Cheek raises are mainly to work on midsection. So those patients that have the zygomatic, everything super far back and just small, you know, the small mid face exercises, those patients, the cheek raises are great, but no, before the cheeks.
We have resistance, mid-face
a little bit. So for those patients that have low tone and chubby cheeks, instead of cheek puffs, you're going to give them something to contract. So resistance, you don't give resistant exercises until later. There is a, gosh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hierarchy.
Of exercises that you're supposed to give. And I'm going to explain that exactly in this course. Resistance is one of them, but you don't give that until the end. You have to do this one first, and then you do this one, and then you do resistance, and then you do something else. Okay. I'm going to explain all of that to you guys, exactly how to prescribe these exercises. So you should give exercises that contract the cheeks. So chewing, yes, chewing exercises are great. There's another exercise that I do that contracts the buccinators that is great. That's going to be in the course. I'm going to give you that. So anything to contract this is what we should do. So this is exactly what this course is about, guys. It's about us really asking you guys, why are we doing this? And what can we do for this patient to make sure that we're focusing on exactly what they need. So we talked about the consultations, what exactly we're looking for in a consultation. So that's when Angela goes through her consultation, what she's asking for and what does it mean. And how is a consultation different than a functional assessment? I will share with you guys also my consultation notes. And then we have these live consultations, therapy sessions and functional assessments with Tamara and I that you guys get to watch, where, on mine, I'm narrating everything that I'm doing. So you guys know, okay, now I'm seeing the patient over here. So I'm going to make sure that I do this. And I explain to you guys, I have this screen open, I have this screen open, and I have the photos open. So I'm doing all of this. I'm literally breaking everything down as much as I can to make it super simple and easy for you guys to know exactly what to do. There you go, our functional assessment. Why we look for disorders, review forms used, and measurements. Do you guys want to touch on any of this?
Go ahead, Ann.
Okay. Yeah, I like to use a lot of different type of measuring tools, and the reason is because I like to see before and after, and I know that all my patients like to see the before and after, and also during. And there are some. I actually had a child in here the other day, 13, and he's like, can I be done? And I'm like, yeah, you're at that point right now where you had your peak, you're plateaued, we're working on those muscles, and now we're going to go into the next phase. So let's go ahead and take some measurements and let's compare them to what we had before. He was floored that he could have a good range of motion with his suction, with his tongue tip up, with his lateral movement, with his lips were so much more relaxed that we were able to check measurements from here to here, from here to here. And I like to take measurements of the entire face. Not everybody does, because I'm in person. So I get a more accurate reading rather than if they were to do it or their mom were to do it somewhere else. And then the measurements, the review forms, we would do review all of the forms that we use as well. I'm just going to show you briefly one of the measuring tools that I use. I don't know if anybody has seen something like this. I think it's called the conmeter, but it slides up and down, and this it's in millimeters, and this one part right here can measure your nose right here, and it just hooks underneath your chin with this cute little swoop, and it starts at 20 millimeters. So if you're trying to measure the glabella area or in between the eyes and it's less than the 20, then you can just use your range of motion tool, and it just tells you the millimeters right there. This is what I use mostly, from here to here, but we'll go into all of those measurements as well. And I do like to use something called the Myo Lip Reader. That's a great measurement tool to measure the lip strength, but that's part of the measurements as well.
And do you do that with every patient? How old
every
are you?
Patient.
Well, I'm just saying, whenever we go through our thing, do you do it with every patient? Are you going to do the same measurements in a 4-year-old than you're going to do on an 18-year-old, on a 25-year-old? So it really depends. But we go through all of those. The good thing, like I said earlier, is that the form has everything that you would need in person and virtual, that you'd need for a 4-year-old, that you'd need for an adult. But you don't have to check everything. You literally just use what you need. And if you have simple practice, you're just going to click certain things. And whenever you generate the form after you're done, it only chooses what you clicked. So if, for example, you cannot see the occlusion. A lot of times if I'm online and they're sending me photos and they suck of the occlusion, instead of writing that they are a class 1, I don't write anything at all because I don't know. I'd rather not tell the dentist that it was a class 1 when I'm not sure because I couldn't see. So I don't write anything, and that's not going to go on the report. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Simi. That's so nice. I will. All righty. Oh my goodness. Did I go too far? This is it. No, this is it. Ta-da! All right. Like I said earlier, this is teamwork and it's a work in progress. I had a dream some time ago, and my dream was to have a functional assessment form that's universal for at least the United States, where everybody, my functional therapist over here, could get to this form and find it valuable and find everything that they need in it. And most of us could be using the same form. But we all, we cannot do this. Every circle cannot do this by ourselves. We need your help. So if you would like to, right now in the chats, please let us know if you see something that you would like to add or take away. Let us know. We would love to edit this form to make sure that we fit, what most of you would want in it. I'm going to open up and have allow anybody to download this that would like to use. We're going to go through a little bit more. This is on Simple Practice, and sorry, I'm trying to look at the chat. Yes, so there it goes. Danelle said, been trying to create this for a while now. So Tamara actually has a service that she will go on Simple Practice for you, and she will do this for you. She will put this form as a template in your Simple Practice so you don't have to. And I don't know if I can show you guys later how easy it is. So what you're looking at right now is the PDF version of this form before it's filled. So I decided to add all the way up there. And the reason why I added that, I had the pleasure of completing an orofacial myofunctional comprehensive evaluation. Below is a full assessment and my recommendations. The reason why I added that on there, it's because I stopped doing reports for a while. What I would do, I just print this out or put in a PDF and send it to the referral or referring doctor or anybody that I'm referring to. Because it's bullet points, it's easy to look at. And if we have any doctors in the call, same thing, we would love to know, what are you guys looking for? Is it too much information? Because you're not going to see every single one of these. For example, on the body posture, lateral and frontal, you might see 1 of 2 or 3 of those be clicked. Okay, so it's going to be a lot smaller. It's probably going to be about 4 or 5 pages long, the whole assessment. But it's bullet points, so you can literally just go through it. And so I had that in the beginning, and then at the end in the comments, I'll write anything else that I would like them to know. And like that, they can, it's an easy way, and I don't have to write a full report. But that might be changing in the future, right? As soon as I can get it done automatically, I'll let you guys know when that's done. So I decided to start with extraoral examination. I decided to start this how I see the patient. So a lot of this information I took, I'm going to give you guys a download. I wonder if I can put in the chat box. Can I add it on here for you guys, the PDF? Does anybody know?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, right there, file. I can go ahead and put it right here for you guys. Hold on. Your computer. Documents. Downloads. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Do you guys want to add anything as I'm looking for this? Right here.
I have an anonymous question that came in, Renata.
Yes.
Will treatment be covered? So few courses actually cover the critical thinking skills to consider in the treatment process.
That is exactly what MyoCircle is. It is the critical thinking part. This is exactly what I was doing earlier. Like, why do you do this? Why do you not do this? No, I'm not taking it off of Facebook because I forgot to give the link, and we have 24 people on Facebook right now. It was my fault that I didn't send the Zoom link to everybody, so it's going to stay there. I'll take it off after it's done.
Hey, Renata,
Yeah.
It looks like Simi has a comment she'd like to share.
Did I just send it to you, Anne? Yes, please, Simi, go for it, girl.
Hello, Renata. I just wanted to share that I think this is incredible. Would it be possible, like, I'm wondering if the purpose is for your initial examination or for just a screening. So if it's just a screening, this is incredible. I would add perhaps a visual. So, because I'm like looking, going, oh boy, I have to think every time I look at all these things, whereas I might be cued faster by a picture. And then you can have an X where, you know, where that, but I don't know if that's going to work into the software or whatever program that you're using this for.
So we cannot do that during the assessment portion for simple practice. I don't know if I should say this. There's a lot of people live, but I don't know if I should say this. Eventually, it will be amazing where you can actually see photos. As you're doing the assessment. Anybody else on the call would like to have a photo explaining what shoulders forward or forward head posture means? So is that what you're talking, Simi? You just click?
Oh, no, it's just that every time, like until you've done a few of these and you know, well, you know, you might want to number them. I'm just thinking when you're actually looking at the patient and going through, because I do similar exams, but you know, whatever you're looking for, you just want to kind of go, okay, number one is this, number two is that. And, you know, now we're on lock knees, now we're on pelvic tilt. And once you get familiar, but till you get familiar, it may need a little, either you could do the whole body and just have the numbers correlated and maybe just mark on the body instead of, I'm just thinking that I guess I would mark it differently. Don't worry about it.
Please, that's a great point. And I do want to welcome anybody to give us their input. This is very valid input. And you know, it's taken other professionals many, many years to come up with assessments that are validated. The one that the one that I took the most from, it's the MBGR from Brazil. And gosh, they met for over 2 years to be able to come up with the assessment, but it's totally validated and it's quantitative, where it actually gives you a score at the end. So I didn't do that for this one, but I'm trying to get as much of the, as we would describe the lateral and frontal body posture. So we have options. Something else that you guys cannot see on this, you guys are not going to be able to see this on the PDF form. It's, for example, whenever you click on neck tilt, an extra line is going to show up on the side, and you have the option to type on there, and it gives you already a prompt. So it's going to say neck tilt. Is it to the right, to the left, you know, things of that nature. For the pelvic tilt, says forward, right, left. I don't have them in front of me right now, so I can't really see it. For the knees, Anne, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, what is the knees one? Because you helped me with this one.
So for varus and valgus, we're talking about knock-kneed or knees kind of turned out. I forget what the layman's term is for knees turned out.
Vulgar and
Bowed knees.
Varus and valgus.
Thank you. Varus and valgus. There you go.
That's often used by physical therapists.
There you go. So we, you know, some of these, you don't see it, but you're going to have an option to add something else that, you know, a little extra information, but it's not every single one of them. It's the ones that you really need, like right shoulder higher, you know, that's right shoulder higher. You don't really need to write anything else about that. So we start with the full extraoral examination, full body extraoral. The way that I do it, I'm looking at my photos whenever I'm doing this, since most of my patients are online. The whole first half of my evaluation, I can do by looking at their photos and their videos. But of course, when I have them in person, I'm going through the whole thing again to make sure that I didn't miss anything, or that maybe the, you know, a still photo sometimes is not 100% accurate. So I sit with the patient in front of me, and as I'm talking to them, I'm already looking at these. So you guys let me know if there's anything in the chat box that we need to see. to look at.
Can you provide a reference? You provide the reference, which I
That's
think is
something else that I needed to add that I have not added on this is everywhere where the thing is that there's not one place only, like the extra oral examination, the first half probably it's mostly from the MBGR, but the rest is from all different people that have added things, and it has come from everywhere. Some of them you guys are going to see that are very specific to certain places, and some of them is just all over the place. And then we go into facial symmetry. Let's look at the full body. Now let's look at the face. And somebody, Courtney Hoffman over here, said a simple practice does not accommodate pictures in the evaluation forms at this time. Facial symmetry. So if it's symmetrical, asymmetrical, which sides, mandibular protrusion, retruded mandible, maxillary hypoplasia. Does anybody have anything to add to facial symmetry? And then we go into facial pattern. If it's straight, convex, concave. This is one that I want a photo. Every single time I'm doing this on an evaluation, I have to Google the photos, even though I know what they mean. To me personally, it's just very difficult to clearly see what that patient's profile looks like. I don't know if I'm the only one.
Can I make a suggestion, Renata?
Yeah.
Renata, can I make a suggestion? It's Anne.
Yes.
I know you don't want to add extra things, but if you think of the parentheses symbol, the open parentheses, close parentheses, you can think of convex versus concave shape.
That's
if you
great.
kind of put open or close parentheses next to it. So that could be kind of the cue.
And for the straight, I can do the little straight line.
Yep.
That. I like that. I mean, I kind of know what concave and convex mean, but I have a hard time looking at the face and being like, I need to have the picture of that face next to it so I can see the chin. I don't know. It's a tough one for me. Maybe I'm just dyslexic when it comes to that. And then other facial features. We decided to add, yes, I have to compare pictures online every time. And then whenever we're looking at other facial features, I try to add as much as we could as I'm talking to the patient, and immediately I'm looking at allergic shiners, eye canting. Whenever I'm talking to them, eye canting is this corner of the eye is lower than the inside corner. Denny Morgan lines, that came from our favorite orthodontist in the world, Dr. Bill Harrow. Denny Morgan lines are the extra little lines that you have right underneath the eye, and that's 78% chance of you having allergies. So I know that when I look at that, I'm usually sending the patient for an allergy panel if they haven't had one yet. Allergic salute. Anne helped me with that one because I just had crease on the nose.
Yeah.
The patients that are always like this, also another sign of allergies. Narrow size, that was edited by Nicole Goldfarb. And whenever you click on that, it gives you the option of doing, you write then left small, right small, or both small. Erica saying, thank you for tonight, everyone. Got to get little one to bed. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Erica. Come back after she's in bed, Erica. We might be here for a while. This is a long presentation. I'm going to try to go faster on this, guys, because I know it's a lot of info. And as we're going through it, if you guys have any questions, please just let us know. And then we stay on the face. We're going to look at the lips now. Sealed with tension, closed with tension. If they're drooling. Oh, I did have something else that I wanted to ask you guys. Whenever we're looking at the face right here, other facial features, I was talking to Nicole Goldfarb today, and she asked me to add nasal valve collapse.
Yeah.
Should I add nasal valve collapse under other facial features, or should I add that under breathing? I put that under breathing.
Yeah.
Because it's not a feature just by looking at it, right? But with that being said, when I'm doing the evaluation on the patient, I ask them to breathe in super hard right here. When I'm looking at their nose, I ask them to look up to see if they have a possible deviated septum. And I have that somewhere. Where is the possible deviated septum? Is it on here?
Other facial features, the first one.
Oh, there it goes.
People are saying
the first thing. So that's when I also ask them to breathe in really, really hard to see if they might have nasal valve collapse. Yes, I put it on their breathings, but I wanted to know what you guys thought.
I like in the breathing section for sure. There's a lot of breathing in the thread here. Breathing, I would say breathing. I would also say breathing. Well, and then Kimmy says, but functionally, when you're looking at this, it is during breathing.
Yeah, you're right.
So it sounds like.
But
Yeah.
perfect. So everybody's in the same line with this. All right. So then we're gonna look at the lips. Does anybody see or think of anything else that we need to add about the lips? Do you guys have anything that you look at that we're not looking at? And then we go, so we do all extraoral, then we go to the intraoral examination. So we separated this into parts. We actually have oral ties after. This is just by looking, not touching the patient at all. This is just visual clinical observation without touching the patient. So extraoral, other facial features, and lips. What do you see without touching the patient? And then we're going to go into asymmetrical cant of lip corner. I like that. Does anybody think of anything? Asymmetrical cant of lip corner. Is that when they're smiling? Or just
even just an uneven when they're at rest? I have a lot of patients with that. Low tone on one side and then that side collapses or goes downwards.
Let me add that one. Asymmetrical cant of lip corner. Does anybody want to say anything else? I think you have this somewhere on the form. I remember seeing it, or am I thinking of the eyes? Maybe. Wouldn't it make sense to check nasal valve collapse with normal breathing versus breathing hard? If anyone breathes really hard, they could make it collapse. Definitely, Joanne. But most people, when they breathe super, super slow, they won't have the nasal valve collapse. Usually that's at least how I check when you breathe in super, super hard. How do you guys check for nasal valve collapse? Anybody?
That's what I do too. I do the inhale pretty hard, and I have a pretty significant nasal collapse. If nobody knows what that is, I'm happy to demonstrate.
Danielle, where did you get the term canting used to reference the lips?
Good question. I don't even remember.
So if anybody have, how about asymmetrical? Oh, we do have that. It's asymmetrical lips. We do have that. Right over here on their facial symmetry. Asymmetrical smile, I have. Maybe we change it to asymmetrical lip. And then you can say, you know, right corner drops or right corner lower than left corner. Demonstrate.
Dana wants to see the nasal collapse. Before I do that, so does Veronica. So, but before I do that, what I'd like to see, or Renata, with those, when you click on those options, will there be a drop down for a lot of those so that you can write in to where it is? Okay, perfect. All right, let me pull my screen closer. There we go. If you want to pin me up there or put me on the screen or whatever. All right, here we go. I'm going to inhale, and I'll do it a couple times. First. Okay, did you see my nostrils move? Watch this one.
Yes, right. Nasal valve collapse. There you go.
And you have a good one.
Let me see if I can do it. Ready? Can you guys see me?
Okay. Yes. Oh, I see yours. Yours is your right side too. Oh, it's both, but yeah. Jennifer Sullivan says I have it too.
You guys are talented.
Does anybody have a phone number for
can you right side twinsies? Can you move your nostrils like open?
Courtney's saying that she's having a hard time.
Make them move open.
She's on her phone. Yes, we do have those on there. We do have dry chapped lips and everted lower lip. Yes, we have all of those. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Twinsies, would you like to just answer whether you need? Oh, sorry, I'm reading the direct messages in.
Janice says I can move open, but no collapse. Good for you. That's good that you don't have collapse.
Yes, yes, I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier that I gotta share my screen again, don't I? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Courtney posted on Facebook, there is also a pinch test for the nostrils to see if they stay collapsed or spring back. I already know mine. If
Like this? No?
yeah. So if you pinch them and then they stay together, or if they go back to their original shape.
What does
And
that mean?
yep. So Courtney, do you want to take yourself off of mute? Oh wait, are you on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what else. Okay, play from current slide. Okay, so then we look at the lips, and then we go into intraoral examination. So for the intraoral, also I'll be looking at the pictures, or I'll be asking the patient to show me on the screen. We go through occlusion, class 1, 2, 3, anterior crowding, right or left crossbite, overbite, overjet. I had the option over here before to go ahead and measure them. I took that off. So you just click if they have overbite and overjet, but you don't measure until you go into the measurements. Anterior open bite, lateral open bite, underbite, end to end, edge to edge, narrow, dark buccal corridors. Maxillary midline, this one was one that I could not figure out how to write it, but maxillary midline in line with the facial midline. So if the midline of 8 and 9 is in line with the rest of the face, because a lot of times the maxilla is off, because we usually check the lower midline only, the mandibular. And was this Alyssa? I think Alyssa that works with me was the one that was like, Renata, how about the maxillary midline? So we usually look at the mandibular. Is it deviated to the right or to the left, in relationship to the maxillary midline? So then we also decided to do the maxillary. And who I saw on a full evaluation do the maxillary midline was Dr. Mariana Evans. Dr. Mariana Evans has that on there, so I added it too. I'm telling you, I probably looked at 15 different assessments to put all of this together, and several people looked at it too. And then we go into the teeth after occlusion. Do they have complete dentition, 22 or 28 or 32 teeth without crowding, mixed dentition, if they have any missing teeth, or if they had permanent teeth extracted. So whenever you click on those, it's going to give you an option to write the tooth number or which tooth it is. If they have a removable appliance, it gives you the option to write if it's a mandibular advancement appliance, if it's a partial, a denture, implants present, which tooth numbers, if they have recession, abfraction, sensitivity, attrition or wear facets, history of braces, and then it's going to ask you if it is current or previous. And then maxillary teeth lingually inclined, mandibular teeth lingually inclined, primary dentition, removable retainers, permanent retainers, history of periodontal disease, erosion, if they have a night guard, or if they have an expander present. And then when you click on that, it gives you the option. What type of expander is it? Is it a NALF? Is it an RPE? Is it a BioBlock or whatever? So you guys can write exactly what you see.
We have a question, Renata. What is maxillary cant?
Maxillary cant, I have a great one to show you. Let me stop sharing again. So maxillary cant, can you guys see me? Is whenever your maxilla it has a cant, it's crooked. So if you guys look at my maxilla, it's going to be beautiful this way. You guys are going to get to know me really well. Keep it out dirty. All right, ready? Can you guys see? Oh gosh, I'm crooked. Let me put my little mouth thing up. Hold on. Where is my mouthpiece? Of course, when I need it, it's not right in front of me.
Here, I have one for you.
I have one right here. Hold on. Okay. So, all right, ready. Can you guys see it?
pin Renata so she's bigger on your
Okay,
screen.
I gotta talk. So I gotta talk. So it shows up. Can you guys see? I can't.
Yeah, I see it on the left side. Or well, you will, it looks, do you, when you put your teeth together, when you occlude, do you hit more on one side than the other, or faster on one side, first on one side? Or are you a bilateral, or are you unilateral?
I hit here first.
Okay.
Maxillary cant is when your maxilla is like this. There was a case that we just had on circuit. I'm looking at myself over here. This is awful. On Circle Time, we just had an amazing case that Dr. Courtney shared with us. And it was the last little boy on that. For whoever is on Circle Time, you guys can go back and watch it. And he had a maxillary cant. We kept all looking like his mandible was off, but it was because he had the maxillary cant. My ring is on my right hand. And my mirror image is right side.
Yeah, we were commenting on the left side, and then I was questioning, wait, are we flipped? Okay. Just making sure we're looking at you the right way.
All right, so that's what a maxillary cant is. Any other questions? Let's see what else. Share again. I know, guys, I'm sorry, it's a lot of info. Okay, is it full screen? Right.
Yes, we see it.
Perfect. Anything that you guys think we should be looking at? Teeth. Then we go to alveolar ridge, hard palate. Is it wide and shallow, being normal? Is it high vaulted? Whenever you click on the high vaulted, it's going to ask mild, moderate, severe. Torus present, prominent, reggae. I can't say that word. If it's just narrow, cleft palate present. If it's asymmetrical, we see that on a lot of thumb suckers. If they have bilateral mandibular, why is this on there? Oh, alveolar ridge. Yeah, that should be on there. Bilateral mandibular tori, exostosis, or a wide palate. I don't know if I should have mandibular tori down here. Do I have anything else on the lower? No. Do I have torus? I do have torus. I mean, exostosis is on the outside and it could be on the lower too. So maybe that should be on here. All right. Any other comments? You guys let me know. And then we go into soft palate or velum. How is the uvula? Is it present and normal? U is supposed to be triple P, not double P. Surgery done, which some people actually have double P. Maybe I don't have both here. Some people actually did that on me. They did a U double P where they took my soft palate on both sides and not my uvula. You guys want to see? I think I have scar tissue. Can you see? Is there enough light?
No, I don't think there's enough light.
Oh, my screen is small. Sorry. Okay. I'll show you guys later. I'll take a picture and I'll post it on area circle. Damage to uvula, enlarged uvula, long, soft palate, short, soft palate, palatopetechia, bifid, is it bifid or bifid? Bifid uvula, contraction of uvula, uvula deviates to the right, deviates to the left within normal limits. I'm not sure why that's on there. That needs to come off. Uvula not present, weak velum, possible submucosal cleft, which the possible submucosal cleft, you should always check if you check bifid uvula. And then hyperemia. Does anybody see anything that shouldn't be on there? So I'm writing it down to take out that within normal limits. The one thing that I don't love about simple practice is whenever I come up with something else to put in there, it has to go on the bottom. It doesn't allow me to move them. So I don't necessarily want this order to be the order, but it would take too much to go through the whole thing. Presence of diastema on the soft palate. Lynn Monteiro asked. Anybody? Diastema. She asked me to add presence of diastema. Is that on the soft palate? Or
that's a T. Yeah.
Well, I know where it is.
Oh.
Or does she want me to add? I do have that under oral ties. Oh yeah, okay. She asked that when I was talking about the teeth. Who thinks that we should add diastema under teeth, or should you keep that under oral ties as a? I kind of like that under teeth. I can't see the chat. Anybody?
Yeah, she said no. I asked when you were on teeth. Teeth. I would say teeth. Yeah.
Okay, I'll add that under teeth. Look at that. You guys are all contributing to this. This is awesome. What else we're looking at? Then Friedman's tongue position. I used to have Malampati over here. I used to have Malampati here, but I no longer look at Malampati score. I have seen some people look at both Malampati and Friedman's. My question is why? Why are you checking both? Is the dentist, the doctor that you're sending to, really going to care which one you do? I mean, are they going to be looking for both? It's extra time of your assessment. And you're looking for the same thing. I just don't think it's, does anybody here check for both? You guys let me know. Which one do you do? Or tell me, do you do Malampati or do you do Friedman? So
I do both,
I
which is
do.
Angela. Yeah, I do both because the Malampati does tell me a little bit more about sleep apnea.
Tell me
With
why.
the high posterior tongue, and it's blocking. And if it's going all the way up to the soft palate, then I know if they're telling me the truth about snoring, and if they're telling me the truth about, because the mouth will talk to you without talking.
So that's Malampati sticking your tongue out?
Correct.
If the tongue is high up, down, back here?
Yes. Yeah. Even though it's for the intubation,
Yeah.
that also tells me about, I mean, that'll tell you right there for sleep apnea and the high posterior of the tongue.
And you don't
And
think
then that will also,
do that?
I'm sorry, would you
You
repeat
don't
that?
think Friedman will do that?
No, the Friedman, I'm looking for tonsils. And the Friedman is the tongue that's inside of the mouth. So with the Friedman, I will tell you what else I look for when I look at the Friedman is I look for a posterior tie. So if you can look for in the posterior of the tongue, you can look for a posterior dimple.
Or blanching.
Just like, yeah, right. Who was that, Kimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Blanching where? On the surface of the tongue?
Yeah, like the central groove in the posterior region.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So Friedman's, there are photos showing how to do Friedman's with this, where you push the posterior tongue down, and that's how you can truly tell if it's a true Friedman score or not. If you can teach the patient how to get the back portion of the tongue down, and you can actually visualize the uvula, the tonsils, and the pillars, then it's a Friedman of 1. But a lot of people just don't really understand what they're supposed to be doing. After instructing somebody how to do it, after sometimes you even ask them to push the back of their tongue down with their finger, even after all of that, if they still cannot do it, that's the true Friedman score. Why? Because those muscles are not working. No matter how much we tried, we could not get them to move the back muscles of the tongue up and down. So that's when you know that's where you have to work. You have to work on those muscles. So when I do Friedman, all I'm looking for is posterior tongue. So that's interesting that you said that, Ange. Anybody want to add anything? You do Malampati, Beth? I don't do Malampati because that's with the tongue sticking out. I want to see exactly if the back of those back muscles are moving or not. If the patient is able to move the muscles up or down, showing me their palate. I mean, their, soft palate and the tonsils and everything. And then we look at tonsils, and I just added the percentage over there, which I probably have to put a little dash after the number so you guys can, we can all see it better.
Joanne mentioned something in the chat box about when doing the Friedman, that she thinks is important to note whether or not they're nasal breathing while we're checking. Because if they're breathing through their nose, the back of the tongue comes up when nasal breathing.
Back of the tongue comes up if they're nasal breathing with everybody.
Yeah.
just certain people.
Well, according to Zoggy, it goes up.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start checking that.
Yeah.
Because some people, we cannot get it to move down at all. What else? Mucosa of cheeks. A lot of times I'll ask them to feel your cheeks. Do you feel any bite marks or anything like that if I'm having a hard time seeing it? And then I'm actually, we're hygienists over here. So we're looking at dental hygiene. We all know that poor oral hygiene has a lot to do with a tongue tie. And as you guys are seeing this on Zoom, or I'm not sure if you guys can see it well on Facebook, please let us know if you see anything we can add or take away. Then we're going to look at the tongue. Tons of information on the tongue. Tongue stays on the palate at rest. Low tongue posture. I usually ask the patients, and I don't ask them, where's your tongue? Because a lot of them go, what? I usually say, there are 3 positions where your tongue can stay. It can stay touching your lower teeth. It can stay on the roof of your mouth, or it can stay suspended in between. Where do you think your tongue is? Then when I give them options, they're like, oh, I think it's over here, But if you just ask them, a lot of times they don't know exactly what you mean. They just go, it's in my mouth. Low tongue posture, geographic tongue, but we all know if they have low tongue posture, right? Geographic tongue, scallop tongue, fissure tongue, hairy tongue, injured, symmetrical, asymmetrical, hyperplasia, vascular. Whenever they lift the tongue up, I think it's very valid, especially for a release provider, to know if that tongue is vascular. Mine is super vascular, if you can see it. See how purple it is right there next to the frenum? Super, super purple. That's very valid for a release provider to know, because that's a little bit more challenging case. There's a lot of blood vessels there that they have to be aware of. And there's actually some exercises that you should not give to patients who have a very vascular tongue. I learned that too. Prominent plica fimbriata. We learned that from Sarah Hornsby and Sanda. Plica fimbriata is, I don't know if I have it. It's going to be right here. Kind of next to the frenum, and it, to me, kind of looks like a mermaid tail. It's an actual little mermaid. I don't know how to explain that. It's an extra little tissue. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just more prominent in some people. If it's coated or white, if it deviates to the right or left during elevation, whoever here has a tongue that deviates, mine really deviates. To the left, I think. I can't see, but mine really deviates. I can tell it's a lot tighter on one side than it is on the other one. If it's heart-shaped or notched at the tip, deep, if it has a deep midline groove, that deep midline groove, we learned from Ruth, our occupational therapist, that it means that you can lateralize your tongue well whenever you are chewing your food. So if somebody does not have a midline groove at all, that means they cannot lateralize their tongue. If it's positioned interdentally or depression on the surface, that position should be all the way up there. But anybody else? Anybody wants to add anything?
Renata, for the tongue resting position, will this form be able to differentiate between tip, mid, and posterior tongue? So sometimes when you ask people where they're resting, the tip of the tongue may be up, but then it sinks down after that, or sometimes it's the middle of the tongue they feel touching, and then the tip of the tongue is dangling.
Anybody want to comment on this? What do they think is important? I want to make sure that we don't add so much detail that your assessment is going to take 2 hours. You know what I mean?
I think that the tongue, tip of the tongue in one place, posterior, let's say the tip of the tongue is up and the posterior is down. That's important to know the difference. If they tell you, oh, I'm touching the top of my mouth with my tongue, we may take that as their entire tongue is up there. The posterior is up there. That's a good sign. But if it's not.
So I usually write low tongue posture if the posterior is down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the tongue tip, and that's why I'm
actually that.
It's because I don't care about the tongue tip. The important thing is if the tongue is suctioned or not.
But
so,
if you ask like ask someone if their tongue is up and they say it's, or ask where it is and they say it's up.
Well,
What
if
if it's the tip that's up and that's not the part that's the most
I
important?
usually ask.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I usually ask. And they usually tell me. I feel like the tip is up, but the back is not fully up. And that usually means that they're restricted or they have a high voltage palate. I haven't encountered that where they don't tell me yet when I'm asking about tongue position. What do you guys think? How many people in the call check or separate tongue tip and posterior tongue posture, and you write both? The reason why I don't care about the tongue tip is because to me, the whole tongue just needs to create a vacuum seal. That's the most important thing about a tongue position. You're going to get the detriments of mouth breathing if your tongue is not fully suctioned how it's supposed to be. So a lot of times we see parents say, well, my child is a nose breather, but they have low tongue posture, or just the tip of the tongue is high and the back is not. The important thing is for the whole thing to create a vacuum seal. That pressure is what's going to help your face grow. That intraoral pressure. Do you ask about lateral aspects? I go through, whenever they suction, I ask them to look to see if they have spillage. I don't usually ask over here about lateral aspects. How many people ask about the lateral aspects of the tongue? Also, posture. When it comes to posture, I don't think that on the first assessment they really know. I just don't think that they are that aware. So the most important thing for me over here is just to get a little bit of information out, because this thing is going to change anyways. I just have to have something to send to the referral or the referring or referrals, a referring provider or the other people that I'm going to send the patient to. I just need to have some basic information first. Is the tongue proper, the tongue posture correct or not? It's probably not correct because they're coming to see us, right? Once in a blue moon, we're going to get somebody where the tongue stays on the palate at rest. I had one patient, the 9-year-old boy that had the most beautiful wide palate, asthma since he was 2 years old. But I looked at him, I was like, he was a nasal breather. The palate was beautiful or wide. I'm like, he doesn't need me. And in 3 sessions, he stopped all his allergy medication. In 9 sessions, he was completely no more asthma symptoms. And that came from his pulmonologist, not me, that told him to stop everything. And it was just a bunch of breathing exercises. But yes, very few people I feel like you're going to have the tongue in the proper place. If you guys have any more comments about tongue posture, if we need to differentiate, or maybe right there where it says low tongue posture, I'll make sure that there is a place for you to add any other information. Then we're going to go into tie. So you have to check the tongue position and tongue mobility. We do that, Dr. Pedro. We're going to go through the mobility. So we started with extraoral examination, full body, facial features, lips, and then what else? Then we go into intraoral examination, occlusion, teeth, soft palate, hard palate, Friedman's position, tonsils, mucosa of cheeks, dental hygiene, tongue. Now we're going to go into frenum attachments. So all oral or frenum attachments. So that says, see, it says frenulum attachments. Should I say frenum? Because they're all frenum. Frenulums means that they are small. So I do want to change them to frenum. See, I did change the lingual frenum, but I did not change the other ones. What do you guys think? Should be frenum. And everybody says frenum, but I say frenum. Or if they use it as a splint between the occlusal surfaces. You mean the tongue? We do have the option for the tongue. Interdental, positioned interdentally, and that's me, I think. So and that's the swimming in between, usually what I say. Is it just floating in between? Maxillary labial frenum, restriction causing diastema. That's why we have the diastema. What do you guys think? Should we have that under teeth also? I also want to make sure that we don't have the same thing everywhere, so it's not an extra step that you have to take. So I just want to make sure we put it in one place. What is the best place to put the diastema? Under teeth or under maxillary labial frenum? And then webbed, thick, thin, rigid, elastic within normal limits. Anybody else has any input on frenums? And then mandibular, if it's short, if it attaches to the attached gingiva, if it's webbed or within normal limits. I did not add rigid or thin here because, go ahead.
And says, have many of you learned the term fixation instead of attachment to describe the frenulum?
Yes. Oh, that's what I learned. But that's, it's probably the Portuguese translation. Because it fixes, we say that the frenum fixes here and it fixes here, which it means attaches here and attaches here. So maybe we need to teach that.
Yeah, yeah. And then Cindy says that she likes both places. That's just her.
Okay. And then we're just trying to make everybody's lives a little bit easier by having, you know, the least amount of work, but still the same good information coming out of this. So then buccofrena, thank you, Anne, for helping me with this one. And I just have if they have, you know, if it looks like it's restricted, right upper, left upper, right lower, left lower, and if it's adequate, thick, thin, elastic, rigid. And then lingual frenum, we have adequate, short, posterior restriction, thick, blanched, webbed, I can't talk, fibrous, no, fibrous, I can't say it, you guys help me. Deep muscular submucosal, previous frenectomy, Eiffel Tower appearance, tight, rigid. Anything else you guys think we should add? Is any of this, a tight, rigid, is it thick? Tight and rigid, the same thing as thick? Or is every thick frenum tight and rigid? I guess it's my question. And then lingual frenum attachment. That's what we have tongue. So I'm gonna go through really quickly after this slide. We're gonna go through the what that means, okay? What the fixation means on the apex. But is that what you're saying, Anne, that we should change the fixation to attaches?
Not even the terminology as much, but when you're talking about the connections, you have two ends, right?
Yes. So the frenum, where does it attach? On the tongue, and where does it attach? On the floor of the mouth. So the fixation of the tongue and the fixation on the floor of the mouth. I need to know where those two fixations are. And that's how we look at the tongues in Brazil. If I have elasticity under frenum. Has anybody seen a frenum that's elastic? It's connective tissue, cannot be elastic. Yeah, they don't stretch. And then functional tongue classification. TRMR. So I have, this is pretty much from Zaghi, grade 1. You guys are all familiar with this. And then the compensations on the bottom, I just added one extra compensation that was not from Zaghi. This came from Nicole Goldfarb, which is a muscular overflow of facial muscles. When you click on that, it gives you options. Did the patient lifts the eyebrows up or anything else? I have a lot of patients that will look way up whenever they're trying to suction their tongue. And then we go into measurements. So there you go, extraoral, intraoral, oral ties, and now facial measurements. A lot of times I don't do the measurements if it's a small child or I'll do only a few measurements. I don't do every single one of them. I usually am a little bit pickier about my measurements if I'm seeing them in person. So I only do the ones that I feel like are necessary then, and then I move along, and it's not going to show up on the assessment. Anybody? Okay, you can scan this for this article. I'm going to go through really quickly. I know I don't even know what time it is. My Lord, we got to get out of here. So you guys can scan this for the article. This is the tongue frenulum evaluation protocol by the one and only Dr. Irene Queiroz Marquesan, the queen of frenums. I was going to say in Brazil, but she's the queen of the world in frenums when it comes to that. So they did this study right here, and but look at this. The reason why I put this on here is because I wanted to show everybody how long it took for them to come up with this. So the purpose of this is to present a lingual freedom protocol with scores. And in this article, you're going to see where they have the scores that you actually, what are you laughing, Angela? I can't hear you. Whenever you're able to check the freedom, whatever it is, and it's going to give you a score at the end. But so they had 10 experienced speech language pathologists in orofacial myology area used this protocol for 3 years in different populations. And from their consideration, the protocol was restructured and received scores. The absence of alteration was considered 0, and the ones that were found were punctuated in ascending order. From the final version, 4 speech language pathologists with specialization in orofacial myology, which is a 5-year degree in Brazil, was applied for 8 years. That's how long they did these, guys. And they were trained by the researcher to apply the protocol. The protocol was applied in 2008, 9, in 239 people, 160 children between 7 and 11 years old, and 79 adults. The results, so the conclusion is the lingual freedom protocol with scores seem to be efficient in differentiating altered and normal lingual freedom. So here is how it goes. Angela, do you want to say something before?
Oh, I was giggling while you were reading. I'm like, thank God Renata is translating this, because there's a little bit of a language barrier. I don't read Portuguese. When I was looking at the article and you were reading it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to have a little bit of a problem with this.
There you go.
Go ahead,
I have
sorry.
a copy of that for you guys, and there is some Portuguese on that, some English on that. So this, what it says up there is the example of the different types of freedom, and this all comes from Marquezan. So they called normal type A. All of these over here are normal. So the freedom inserts in the middle of the tongue. So that's the fixation. It fixates, so it attaches. So you guys gotta help me with that. English, what should we write? Anne is good at that. So the freedom inserts in the middle of the tongue and on the floor of the mouth. It's only usually visible starting on the sublingual caruncles. So if you guys see where all of this freedom attaches, where they kind of attach, it's right in the middle of the tongue, right? This one kind of looks like it goes to mucosa a little bit. So in Brazil also, the way that they check for tongue tie, and this is very much done in babies, it was Dr. Roberta Martinelli who did one of the most incredible lives we have ever had. If you guys have not watched hers, please go back and watch that one if you want to learn anything about tongue ties. But the way that you're supposed to check for a tongue tie, you are supposed to do the maneuver. She's the one that came up with the maneuver, because they were seeing that a lot of these babies didn't look like they had a tie at all, but the mom was having tons of symptoms. So they started doing the maneuver where they go with both fingers and they pull the tongue back, and then the freedom pops out. All of a sudden you can see where it attaches, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking where is the fixation. So where it attaches on the tongue, where it attaches on the floor of the mouth. That's how they tell if it's a tie or not. So even on adults, you're supposed to do it. And I know not everybody, and it's hard to do it online, but in order for you to see exactly where this freedom attaches, if you do the maneuver, it's going to become super, super clear. So that is type A, normal. Everybody asks what a normal freedom looks like. Ta-da! They do not look at compensations in Brazil at all, by the way. So this one is the anterior, and the color here did not work where we cannot see what it says, but B is anterior. So this is when the freedom inserts on the upper third of the tongue. So there's the upper third of the tongue, upper third of the tongue, upper third, all the way up there. The type C is it's called short. So this freedom inserts in the middle of the tongue like the normal type, but it's short. And it attaches on the floor, inserts on the floor of the mouth, and it's usually in the alveolar crest in 3 points. We all call this the Eiffel Tower. This is funny, right? I was taking a course in Brazil, and she was explaining these all to us. This is several years ago, but she was explaining this all to us, and I said, oh, that's the Eiffel Tower. And they were like, what? I said, in the United States, we call this the Eiffel Tower. And now everybody calls it the Eiffel Tower in Brazil. So we started something. I've heard many other professionals now call it. I was like, I started that. But anyway.
Renata, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So this is confusing to me. The alveolar crest is part of the mandible.
Yeah, right here.
The floor of mouth is a lot lower. So when you talk about the floor of the mouth insertion,
Mm-hmm.
that's different than the alveolar crest. So I would say here, I guess it's just a matter of semantics. I would say the inferior attachment is the alveolar crest instead of the floor of the mouth insertion.
That's what they call the floor of the mouth.
Okay.
They
I have
call
to read the
does
Brazilian stuff.
Yeah.
See what it says. Okay.
They ask, where does the frenum inserts on the tongue and where does the frenum inserts on the floor of the mouth? You have two options on the floor of the mouth, either the alveolar crest or the sublingual cornicles.
Got it.
Those are
Thank
their
you.
two options.
Okay.
This one, to me, it's almost like it's really not in the middle of the tongue, but if you look the size of the tongue, it is in the middle. The insertion. So those are called short frenums. D is short and anterior. So this is when the frenum inserts on the upper third of the tongue and on the alveolar crest. So it's a mix between short and anterior, about those two types. And a lot of these are going to be the heart-shaped tongues. And we all see this picture right here all over Google. It came from this study, guys. So there you go. That's another Eiffel Tower, but with the tip of the tongue pulling down. And if you think about what can these people not do? They have a hard time with elevating the front anterior part of the tongue. All right, E is full. Oh, do we already do D? Yeah. E is full ankyloglossia. That's when the tongue is totally attached to the floor of the mouth. And you can barely see anything. And it's insane how many kids still, I think Lael just posted recently, a child that was insanely tongue-tied like this. And we still see this nowadays. Lynn is saying, regarding elasticity, I was asking because of the Coriolis ankyloglossia grading scales included this. Ah, that's very interesting. Does anybody uses the Coriolis ankyloglossia grading scale?
I use it sometimes.
Does he think the frenum stretch? Here we go. I just have some pictures of tongues over here for us to try to classify this. So this kind of attaches in the middle of the tongue because there's floor of the mouth elevation, and we can't really see where it attaches on the floor of the mouth. But I would say, what would you guys say that this one is? See, in Brazil, they would say that this is almost normal because they don't look at compensations. But it is a little bit short to me, even though it attaches. I can't tell if it attaches on the alveolar crest. This one, middle of the tongue, and it attaches on the alveolar crest. We just can't see it. I just know who this case is. So this one is it the short? Let's see. It looks more like this one, but you can't see the rest of the tongue. There he goes. My goodness, this one is the both mix. It attaches on the upper anterior and on the alveolar crest. This one, it's crazy how much this child can lift her tongue up because it's so tight. The same thing on the upper third and on the sublingual cornicle. So this one is anterior. It's called the anterior. This is before tongue tie release and after that I have here, but that was a grade 3 in our book, but it attached to the upper anterior of the tongue. This one is one of those that you can't really see, but can you guys see this right here? Scar tissue. This is the previous frenectomy case, but you can't really see the frenum until you do the maneuver. But that's a tough one. This one almost looks normal, right? The insertion on the tongue, the attachment on the tongue is in the middle of the tongue, and we can't really tell on this photo where it is on the floor of the mouth. So if it's on the sublingual cornicles, this will be normal. If it's on the alveolar crest, it would be short. And that one looks like a normal frenum also. There you go. There's a couple more. Middle of the tongue. Can't tell where it is. Sublingual cornicles there. And this one is almost, this one will be middle too. Middle of the tongue. And I don't remember where it attaches. But you have to look where it attaches to see if it's short or just anterior. All right, continuing really quickly. I know this is going late, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You guys already have the PDF for this. So print it out. download into your computer. Reach out to us if you see there's anything else that you would like to add. So pretty much after we look at the oral ties, we go into measurements. We do all the measurements. Another question that I had, I think I took this from the Brazilian one too, which we call it MAX, the maximum interstitial distance. I want to know if you guys do the MIO. Is that right, Anne? Is it MIO?
Well, there's two. I mean, if you do Zoggy's, he uses CMO, which is comfortable mouth opening, or there's the MIO, which is maximum interincisal distance.
What do you guys use? Really quickly tell us on the chat. I have the PDF for the Zoom people. I'm gonna post the PDF on Aries Circle Professionals page. You guys can download it from there. MIO, CMO, or MAX. What do you guys use? Let us know. And then TMJ, masseter. Oh, this is a great one. I need to add something else on the TMJ. I added and it didn't save, but it was whenever we took the class with Dr. Somebody saying CMO. Whenever we took the class with Dr. You guys help me. He's wonderful.
Depeche?
No. TMJ and sleep.
Although, Anne, he is pretty wonderful.
Yeah. I love Dr. Depeche. No, we just took a webinar, had a webinar. He had the meeting that I couldn't go to. Veronica, you were there. Where's Veronica?
Oh, Dr. Clower?
Thank you. Dr. Clower, he talked about different things of the TMJ that I meant to write over there whenever you open and you stay. So if somebody deviates and they stay on one side, it's one thing. But if they deviate and they go back, it's another thing. Yeah, not
You're
all.
talking about deflection and deviation?
Thank you. It was something like that. I added, changed everything, and then it didn't save. So 2 people said CMO. What do you guys, anything on the chat box here? I can't see the Zoom chat. Nothing. You guys want to tell us?
Lots and lots of CMO. Yeah, lots of CMO. I think everyone is CMO.
My goodness, I'm the only one using maximum. Which maximum interstitial distance, it just means the distance from the incisal edge to the incisal edge, which is the same thing, but we just have a different thing. So CMO, I'll change that to CMO for everybody. If you guys have anything else to add on the measurements, let me know. And then we look at TMJ, and then I look at masseter strength and buccinator strength. If you are a longitudinal myo student, you guys have already learned how to check for masseter strength and buccinator strength. If you're going to be in Myo Circle, you're also going to learn that. This is super, super cool because whenever you check for masseter strength and buccinator strength, usually you can tell which side they chew on. And then whenever you do the chewing, you just verify that. A lot of times when they have a cross bite, you're going to see buccinator stronger on one side and masseter on one side and buccinator on the other side. You're also going to have the opposite if they lost a tooth or anything like that, and they're chewing more on one side than the other. After we do all of that, we're going to go into tongue mobility. Somebody mentioned tongue mobility earlier. So, sorry. Oh my goodness, did it kick me out?
No, you're still on.
It says your screen sharing is paused. How do I go back? Resume share right here. So then we go into tongue mobility. So we're asking this patient to move the tongue everywhere, and I'm writing good, fair, poor, or if there's any mandible displacement. Do you guys use anything better than good, fair, or poor, or something that you guys would like to say instead? Eliana. Did you
First section, Renata, maybe incomplete. Instead of good, fair, poor. Or just add the word incomplete.
Yes, I'm going to post the PDF in just a second on Aries Circle. So up and down movement, side to side, posterior tongue movement. I'm asking that this is a new course that I just took that she really checks for the posterior tongue movement. And then suction to palate, so good, fair, poor, or incomplete. I'm gonna add that, and that's probably poor. If it's poor, it's incomplete, right? Most likely. Or
Yeah, I think it's more descriptive. I don't know. I mean, you have drop downs for all of these.
I don't, not for
Oh,
all
okay.
of them, but you can always add, you can add whatever drop down you want. So if you guys, like I said, you can go on Simple Practice and you can upload this whole thing if you want to use, or you can use it on paper. Just take copies of the PDF that I give you, but then like they're going to have to make notes next to it. Or if you'd like Tamara to add this on Simple Practice for you, just contact her through Facebook.
Okay. A compensation I see often with tongue mobility exercises is not just jaw displacement or movement, but also lip. Sometimes you'll see like these odd, like they're using the lips to help with lifting the tongue or those kind of things.
That's for the suction?
Even for up down movement, sometimes side to side, the jaw and the lips go together. But I know you can't include everything. So unless you just have like something that says compensations and then you can just free text.
We can write compensations on the bottom of this. Who else on here writes compensations whenever you're looking at tongue mobility? Somebody said,
Renata?
yeah.
I write compensations, but I also talk about lingual fasciculations if they're protruding and things like that.
I have fasciculation under compensations for, where is it? I think was under here. Compensations. I have fasciculation right here. So I do check for the incomplete lingual palatal suction. I do check for all of this here. Cannot elevate posterior tongue. Should we have them closer to each other so I don't have to write this more than once?
Maybe because that's where you might assess them, right?
Yeah, because otherwise you'd have to go back, or at that point you're not looking at the tongue, and then you'd have to refer back to that section.
So I'm going to move the measurements again. So I used to have the measurements as the first thing on the evaluation. So I could get the measurements out of the way and I could start my evaluation. But I moved it down because the first half I could really do it through the photos, and I wanted to see where do I really have to start. So I moved it down. So I'm probably going to move the measurements back like that. We can do the tongue mobility right after. And it is going to be right. Yes. So masseter, I had all of this in the beginning of the evaluation. So I'll move it back to the beginning of the evaluation. So like that, you have all the oral ties and you go straight into tongue mobility. So like that, you already wrote all the compensations right there. Does anybody write compensations again whenever they're checking for mobility? Somebody said.
We had some yeses to that in the chat.
But meaning checking twice?
No, just looking at
exactly has the
compensations for
compensation.
mobility. Yeah.
Eliana said that she uses enable, weak, and strong. Enable to perform the movement, weak and strong. I like that too. Anybody has anything else? Of course, Jackie. Jackie has lip rolling. Oh, you mean inverted lip? We have that under lip assessment in the beginning. All right, anything else? So then we have suction to palate and tongue clicking and tongue spillage. And some of these have an explanation next to it, asking exactly what you're supposed to ask the patient. After that, puppy and skinny tongue. And then we check for tone. And then we ask them to sniff, to whistle, to wink, to do Popeyes. If you guys know what Popeyes are, does everybody do Popeyes here? And then we have them say, we look at the tongue tip whenever they say na, na, na. And the girls know how much to ask about this. La, 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 ta, 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 da, da, da. I learned this one with Sanda, and I know people have learned this one everywhere. Of course, we want as many people as like to use this form. And I'm gonna add it before I give the PDF on every circle. I'll edit this. You don't know Popeyes? Join my circle. You're gonna learn Popeyes. Tone, sniff, whistle, wink, Popeyes, tongue tip, and then we go into sensitivity. This is also something that I learned from Brazil. Whenever you check the tongue for sensitivity, you can kind of tell if it's low tone or not. Other observations during the exam, do they have any tics? I'm laughing because I misspelled tics earlier. Do they have tics? I hope they don't have tics.
It's okay. It was an honest mistake.
Lateral jaw movement when speaking, anterior thrust, lateral thrust, sinus congestion, stutter, touching the nose often, if they're always like this, muffled speech, lisp, anything else that you guys think that you should add, let me know. And then we're going to go into breathing. So then we do mobility and then breathing. And over here, Nicole Goldfarb asked me for me to add 3-minute lip seal test, but I don't do it for 3 minutes. I do it 90 seconds. I feel like if the patient's going to have dysfunctional breathing, they're going to have it within 90 seconds. I don't have to wait for 3 minutes. So I did put 3 minutes up there, but I kept the 90 seconds. So I got to change one of them. What
Renata, do you usually test breathing like all the way at this point in your exam?
Yeah.
Like you do. Okay.
Last thing.
I do earlier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I feel like I do the whole assessment. I look at everything. And now we're going to get to the fun part. Now we're really going to assess the breathing. Now we're really going to assess chewing and swallowing. That's the last thing that I do. Because I feel like the patient gets so bored, because this is such a long assessment. Then when they're falling asleep, I said, okay, let's hold some water in your mouth. Let's eat some food. So I kind of get them to, because in the beginning you're looking, okay, let me see it again, open again. Let me, but maybe putting the breathing in there in the middle kind of will help. I may have missed, did you add parafunctional oral habits, nail biting, etc.? That's on my history form. So my history form really complements my assessment, and I will go through the history form really quickly if we have time. But my circle is going to get the history form also. So I have this huge history form that the patient fills out everything before they need to see me. I don't feel like I have to write if they have oral habit, if they know they have an oral habit. They tell me that before they come in. What food do you test with? That for several different types of food we can do. I do a lot of crackers, pretzels, anything that is easy for them to form a bolus. Because if they cannot form a bolus, I'm really going to be able to tell if the food is easy for them to form a bolus. Angela, what do you use? And I use a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, I like to use either chocolate pudding or applesauce. Really just depends on I personally like to use the chocolate pudding, but some parents prefer to bring in maybe their own pouch yogurt. And I'm not a pouch person, just because we know the effects of what it is with the soft foods. But what I do is I have them squeeze it into a cup, and then the kid has to use, or the child, excuse me, has to use a metal spoon, not a plastic spoon. Okay. And we test for a lot of things with that. That's all in the course, just to make this brief, because I know it's getting late. We either use some sort of cracker. The cracker, I save that till the end. I generally move towards the pureed food first, and then maybe like a fruit bar second. And I say, you have to take a couple of bites of this fruit bar. And that way, that right there is a little bit stickier, so that it will create a bolus. And if they can't create a bolus with that, they can't create a bolus. And then the crackers, it's usually the Goldfish or the Cheez-Its, and those are the ones that, okay, it's like the reward, because the Goldfish crackers those kids love, or the animal crackers. So it's like, okay, we have to get through this stuff first to get to the good stuff. So let's behave well. Let's do what Miss Angela says, and then we'll get to the good stuff. Snack time, yes.
Awesome. So then we have them first. I do 2 different swallows. I ask them to swallow normal for me, so I can kind of see how they swallow normally without any instruction at all. Because right away, if I ask them to swallow with their lips open, they're like, what the heck am I doing? And they're going to try, already compensate and adapt to whatever I'm asking them to do. So I do ask them to just do a normal swallow so I can really tell how they swallow at home. You know what I mean? And then, so those are all swallowing options that you have there. And then they ask them to choose some food. And then I'm watching where they're biting onto the food. How do they chew the food? Where are they breaking down this food? And then I look at, I have options on how they swallow solids different than liquids, and what is their chewing pattern. A lot of people believe that if a person has bilateral simultaneous chewing pattern is wrong. And I am here to tell everybody that it is okay for you to have bilateral simultaneous. I know that I do. The big problem is unilateral only, and where you start. I know I've said that before. And then we added this at the end. So after you finish the assessment, or facial myofunctional therapy recommended to address, then over here, you're going to put what exactly you're going to work on. So you can kind of give, whenever you print this out, that's already going to be in there. You don't have to add that on the report. It's all in here. And then the recommendations and referrals, whenever you're talking to the parent, to the patient, I think they need a CBCT, they need to go to occupational therapist, they need to see, get some allergy testing. Over here, the girls fought me on this, and you guys are probably all going to be on the same side as them. On the bottom, I wrote check ferritin levels and check vitamin D3 levels. Do you guys think that this is awful to have over here? They are concerned that I should not be recommending that specifically.
Who would check those?
The primary physician. So I'm going to check over here, primary physician, pediatrician. So I recommend a referral to the primary physician to check certain levels.
So maybe you can combine those. Like, just like you have ENT for comprehensive assessment, you could have primary care, consider checking ferritin and D.
But they could be going to the primary care physician for something different. Right. So that's why we made a multiple choice. So you have different options to write different things. Do you ask them to do a bolus? No, I just ask them to chew and show me their food right before they swallow. Whenever you're about to swallow, let me just see your food. They don't know what I'm doing. I don't explain, because if I explain, they're going to try to do something different. And I try to talk as they're doing it, so they're, distracted and not really paying attention. What else?
If anybody doesn't have oh, sorry, Renata. I was going to say, if anybody does not have a cell phone holder, I strongly recommend getting a cell phone holder. That way you can still talk to the parent, talk to the child. You can visually see them. But my rules in my office is that you have to sit in the chair to eat. You don't get up and walk around. And that way I'm always video recording.
Oh. All right. And then on the bottom, I wrote a disclosure. This I saw from another myofunctional therapist that I thought was genius, that she had this on her report. Please note that I do not hold a doctor's license. Therefore, I'm unable to diagnose. However, I'm able to evaluate, report, refer, recommend a plan of treatment, and provider of facial myofunctional therapy, which I'm trained for. So that was super cool. And then any other comments that I have during the assessment, if I had options that I didn't have where to write, I go all the way back down to the comments and I write it on here. And then I go back and I finish the evaluation. If there's anything else that I need to recommend to the parent, I write on here. And then Simple Practice is going to print exactly what I picked, all of this. And I usually just send this to the referring doctor with my my history form that I'm going to show you guys if we have time. So we have our therapy sessions recorded. We're going to open up for Q&A in just a little bit, but I do want to tell everybody, MyoCircle starts January 1st. It is 2 months long. We're going to pick the dates. We still have not picked the dates that we're going to meet. Are we going to keep it on Sundays, girls? So with MyoCircle, it's very important. We only have 20 spots available. And anybody who takes this program, it's not a course, it's a program, because we're really going to be able to learn so much together. We want to get everybody, thinking critically about these cases. And really, really big about which exercises to do and why you're going to prescribe that exercise and how long you're going to prescribe it for how often. Do you skip the diagnosis code section in simple practice since we can only refer and evaluate? Definitely. I no longer do diagnosis codes. I don't give super bills anymore. I don't do any of that. So we have a surprise for you guys with Myo-Circle. You're not just gonna get all three of us. You're also gonna get some guest speakers. And we have Mrs. Madison Scott. She is going to be presenting a course for you guys. It is TMD considerations in myofunctional disorders, how to help your patients. Madison is amazing. If you guys have had, are you there, Madison? Are you home yet? If you guys have had the opportunity to meet and talk to her.
She left. She had to scoot.
Okay, but she's going to be talking about TMD. So a little bit extra course for all of us with Myo-Circle. And then we have Kimmy. Kimmy is going to be talking about how to manage a full-time myofunctional therapy practice. I think she's the busiest of us all. And she does such a phenomenal job in maintaining. Do you want to talk a little bit about what are you going to talk about, Kimmy? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just don't want to take up any more time, but basically just getting into the nitty gritty of how to manage the business side of it, but also the patient flow, in person and virtual, what you're setting up, how you're managing with like cleaning and turning over your office, how to have a full schedule with myofunctional therapy, how to coordinate with different providers. I'm also going to talk about having multiple practices. So I have 2 offices and a therapist working for me. So how to kind of manage that as well.
Ta-da! Then we have Anne, our editor-in-chief. Anne is going to be talking about swallowing. Don't we all need to learn more from speech pathologists when it comes to swallowing? It's going to be called Follow the Swallow, Swallowing Across the Lifespan for the Myofunctional Therapist. Super, super excited for this. And then last but not least, we're going to have Nicole Goldfarb joining us for the case studies. So she is going to be helping us with treatment sequencing. What do we mean by that? Every single person who takes Myo-Circle is going to need to bring a patient. So you do the full evaluation on your patient and you're going to bring it and present it to all of us. And we're going to help you treatment plan. We're going to go through step by step. What exercises should you give? Why should you give those exercises first? Really just build a treatment plan for that patient. So we are super, super excited for this. Did I stop sharing? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Perfect. All right. So we are going to, I didn't put any of that on the PowerPoint. Myo-Circle, you guys have 24 hours. So we only have, let me say this again, we only have 20 spots available. We're going to put the link. We have not released it yet, but we're going to put the link for anybody who watched tonight. There's going to be a 24-hour window open where we're going to offer a discount. Let me see if I can put it on the chat. Does anybody have the link? Is this the link? Okay, so you have 2 options. This link that I just put it is for put on the chat box for Zoom. It's a 3. Can anybody add this to Facebook, please? This is for payment plan. It's for 3 payments and it's discounted at $100. For 24 hours, you're gonna have $100 discount there. And for 24 hours, you're gonna have a $242 discount for the one-time payment. It's $26.89. And you're gonna get it in the next 24 hours for $2,447. You're gonna get a special gift and you're gonna get a full bag of myofunctional therapy tools. And we're gonna meet live one day and I'm gonna go through every single tool and I am going to tell you guys what exercises that I do with every single tool. How do I do these exercises? How do I prescribe them? When do I prescribe them? So we're really gonna go, and I have how many pages? Did anybody look at my exercises? Angela? You've seen my exercises.
Yes, there's a lot. I don't even know how many pages. And I was talking to Tamara. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even remember how many pages it was because there were so many. And how many?
I think it was 40.
Yeah. Oh, yes,
I'm
I
not sure.
believe so.
Probably more than that now.
Bye, Kimmy. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Kimmy. Alrighty, guys. So you guys have 24 hours. We just released the links. And it's gonna close at 20 people. It is gonna close. We are supposed to do a new open again this weekend. So it's gonna be open for only 24 hours. If the 20 people don't sign up, we're gonna open again this weekend, but it's not gonna be with a discounted rate. So you guys only have 24 hours to get it at this discount. But not only that, we did not talk about what you guys are gonna get with Myo-Circle. You're also going to get access to Circle Time, which is our study club, our myofunctional, not only myofunctional therapy now, because we've been doing some dental cases too. And my Circle Time is changing a little bit next year. So Circle Time is going to be quarterly, and we are going to look at some cases very deeply. So instead of just being one person presenting the case, we are going to bring the dentist, the myofunctional therapist, and the body professional, whoever else was involved in that case. We want to make sure that everybody comes and everybody's going to discuss the case. So these meetings are going to be a little bit longer. They're not going to be as often as we had them before, but they're going to be very in-depth and they're going to be longer. So it's almost like a continuation for anybody who takes Myo-Circle. We're always going to have this group together, and we're always going to be learning together and growing together. So it's not like other programs out there that you take the program and bye, see you later, we don't see you again. With Every Circle is not like that. We're always coming up with different things and new things to bring this to you guys. So also with Myo-Circle, just like we did with Launch Your Inner Myo, even the past participants of Launch Your Inner Myo got the business series for free, and also got the personal growth series that we're having next month free of charge. So the same thing with Myo-Circle. You guys are already going to have access to these 2 extra courses. So business series is all about how to sell yourself, how to sell your service, your product, and just be confident in, bringing that out, that your stuff. And then personal growth is going to be a lot of looking within and digging deep. We all believe that we need to grow personally in order to grow professionally. So over, during this years of Every Circle, we're going to be adding things here and there, and you guys are always going to be in our mind. We also have a WhatsApp group, and Myo-Circle is going to be automatically added to our WhatsApp group. It's called Circle Time right now, but it's pretty much our little study club on WhatsApp, where we share cases, we share questions, we share patients, and we all learn together. What else is added? Anything that I missed? Special gift, Myo-Circle, Circle Time, business series, personal growth series, discount. I think you guys got it. I cannot wait to see who is going to start 2023 with us with a bang. We have really worked super hard, and we are so passionate about this program because we feel like we're learning all this stuff, and we want to share. We want to share what we know. We want to share what we learn, because it's so valid for us to all be able to. This is a course you offer again. So it's this program might be offered again once next year, probably in the fall. We're only going to offer it twice. So the first one is January. But same thing, I don't know about the price. I don't know if it's going to go up. I don't know if we're going to get more guest speakers. I don't know if we're going to, exactly how it's going to be. I know that this is going to be a super exciting new way for us to learn myofunctional therapy together. It is the next step. If you have taken 1, 2, 3 courses, but you still don't know exactly why you're prescribing what you're prescribing, this is the program for you. We're really going to be able to understand the exercises of myofunctional therapy and what we're doing, why we're doing. So if you feel like you're in that space right now that you want to learn more, Jenny, I cannot wait to see everything that's going to happen with this, and how many more myofunctional therapists are going to be out there, you know, learning and knowing so much more to be able to help their patients. But I wish I should have brought the gifts over here, but the gifts might be a surprise now since you guys haven't seen it. But anyways, super excited. It's going to close at 20 people. If for some reason we get 20 within 24 hours, I will let everybody know. Otherwise, we'll see you guys. What do we have going on this week is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving for everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will share again the PDF of the evaluation after I make the changes that you guys suggested today, okay? So I'm not going to put an erase circle yet until I make those changes. And I do want to welcome everybody to use that. Just make sure that you guys give credit. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. I know oh my gosh, it's 10:14. I didn't even know what time it was. But, you know, no wonder I could talk for 5 hours without an issue, right? I should not have been worried. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy holidays. And we will see you again next week with the business series. All right. Or the personal growth series. Mwah. Bye. Thank you.